If only I could turn back time.
What's going on YouTube? It's Mike Nice coming to you with some Tekken 7. And I know I usually don't put commentaries on these games, but thought for my 200 subscribers, I thought this would be a good time to do a video that I've been planning for some time actually. A while back, me and my friend was talking on the phone, and he said you should make tips videos for fighting games, because it's a lot of people feel that it's overwhelming to jump into a fighting game, which is true for the most part. And I think not too long ago, I think like maybe a day ago, someone commented on my video something similar to that. So I thought now is a good time as ever. And the first thing is time. The first thing that you have to wrap your head around is putting the time in. Anything you do, obviously in life, okay, that lag was annoying. Anything you do in life, you obviously have to put time in. And fighting games are really no different. They're actually probably even more so, because you really have to learn the system, and once you have learned the system, that's when you can apply certain things to the game. And once you get that, that's when you really start to like execute the game plan, to say execute the game plan, so to speak. You start to doing the things that you want to do, not like playing how other people dictate, because it's hard to play someone that is, if you're just jumping into a fighting game and you're playing someone and they're doing all these things and you're thinking to yourself like, okay, I'm literally just standing here like a dummy, like he's really just hitting me and I'm just letting it happen. It's really hard when you don't have the time into the game. Once you put the time in and you pick a character that you like, that's another thing, is picking someone that you feel that you can really put in the time that you want to put in, because if you don't want to put in the time, obviously you're not going to get any better. But once you put in the time with that character and you start learning the system, because even though fighting games are similar in the fact that they have poking mechanisms and stuff like that, you want to learn the system that's specific to certain games. The system that's specific to Tekken, to Mortal Kombat, to freaking Marvel vs. Capcom, to all of those games. You want to put in the time to learn the systems that are very specific to those games. And then once you start doing that, that's when it's like you're opening up the floodgates. You start realizing how certain things are put into certain areas and certain times, when you're supposed to do certain moves, and then not do certain moves when you're supposed to block, when you're supposed to do special moves and counters and this, that, and the third. And every game has similar, or not, I should say similar. Every game has different learning curves on their fighting mechanics. But once you start putting the time in, that's when you'll start developing that that knowledge of those mechanics. And I think the third thing I would say probably is really have fun with it. Because if you start playing a fighting game, I guess for no reason, or if you're playing a fighting game pretty much, I don't know, to please someone, I have no idea. Why would you want to do it other than to have fun? But you want to always feel like you want to play the game, and that is the most important thing. Not the most important thing, but that is, and I just faced this person, that's funny. You literally want to have that feeling of like, oh my god, I want to wake up and play this game. I want to learn something new about this game, because even though like top players, a lot of them kind of I don't want to say play similar, because there are certain games where you can mold the character that you're picking, let's say Jin in a certain aspect, and you can mold him in the way that you want to play him, and it seems distinct from someone else playing as a Jin. But there are games where everybody that plays with, let's say, Akuma from Street Fighter plays pretty much similar. And once that's the case, you pretty much have everybody doing the same type of moves and whatnot. But I guess that's another tangent for something else. But once you start having fun with it, that's when you will really start like, okay, I want to play this game every day. I want to play this now. I want to play this, as soon as I wake up, as soon as I get up, I want to get on the game. I want to learn a new combo for Jin. I want to learn a new combo for Liu Kang. I want to learn a new combo for whatever, game it is. You're honestly, it's pretty much as if you're watching a new TV show or something. Like, you just want to continue the season. Like, you want to absolutely, like, you want to see this through. Like, you want to just keep on watching. You want to keep on just getting into the lore and the story and whatnot. And once that happens, that's when the fun, like, you really start to get into the game. Is like, you're like, oh my god, like, I need to figure this out, I need to do this, I need to do that. And that's when I feel like the game is at its funnest, I guess to say, when you like are pretty much playing the game not because you're like forcing yourself to play, but because you like are literally in love with the game. That's this is, I guess, a little tangent because it has nothing to do with fighting games, but that's like how I felt when I first played The Last of Us, which I think is the greatest game of all time. That's how I felt. I literally felt like I wanted to play that game literally every day, like every day, all the time. Once I started playing the game, I like couldn't stop. Like, I literally could not stop playing, and every single day I would just get up and I would just start playing, and I would not stop playing pretty much until like maybe I'll get plans to do something. Okay, I interrupted that. I didn't even expect that. That's so funny. I did not expect to interrupt her move just then. But once you get that, it's like, again, like I said before, it's like you open up the floodgates, because you're pretty much just, now you're at the point where like you cannot stop wanting to play. And that's how I felt, not with this game actually. That's how I felt with Mortal Kombat 10X. I felt like I wanted to play that game every day. Every day I wanted to learn something new, and every day I felt like there was something more for me to learn. And dumb enough, I freaking traded that game in. I have no idea why I did that. This game was a little different. Tekken is my second favorite fighting game. Mortal Kombat is my favorite fighting game of all time. But when I first got this game, I was so excited because there was like a little bit of a drought for fighting games until this came out, or at least the fighting games that I like to play. But yeah, when this came out, I was really excited to play this game. Excuse me. But after a while, I almost how can I say this? After a while, I started playing this game just to play it. And that's when I started, getting mad at the game. That's when I started getting frustrated. I would stop playing days at a time. When there's those games that you almost like can't live without, that never happens. Like, even when I would lose in Mortal Kombat, or maybe I would go on a losing streak or whatever the case may be, I never felt that I didn't want to play the game. It in actuality, it made me feel like I want to learn the game more so I don't lose, or I don't get a losing streak, or whatever the case may be. But this game is a little different. Even though I have a lot of love for this game is super annoying. There's a lot of things in this game that I wish I could fix. Obviously I can't. I wish I could fix. But You know, I guess you gotta take this game for what it is, whatever the case may be. Speaking of another game that I love, but it's not on the PS4, I absolutely do not understand, and I absolutely wish Killer Instinct came to the PS4. I would be on that game all day, and that's a game that has a pretty heavy learning curve. And even though I'm used to a lot of fighters, a lot of 2D fighters, a lot of 3D fighters, Killer Instinct has it has a nice little learning curve that I would need to play for like a couple of weeks to even feel like comfortable to go online and like really play, you know, high level people or whatever the case may be. Because there's low counters, or mid counters, there's high counters, combo breakers. There's so many things in that game that is exquisite. Like, that game is so good, and I absolutely hate that they do not have it on the PS4. It's almost like you have one of the best games on, in my opinion, one of the best games on the Xbox One, and they're just like absolutely keeping it, just harboring it. And I know a lot of people feel that way about like Uncharted and stuff, but you know, I'm a fighting game fan, so like I can do without Halo. You know, I love first person shooters, but I can do without Halo. I can do without Gears of War. I can do without those games. But if there's one game I would absolutely wish that they can just bring to the PS4, it would be Killer Instinct, without a doubt. Because you get like, they're just a dime a dozen. I don't know. First person shooters, I just feel like are a dime a dozen. Like, great fighting games like Killer Instinct, they don't come that often. They really don't. Fighting games, you probably would get maybe 2-3 a year. That's if that. But for the most part, you really don't get a lot of fighting games each year. But I know what you will get each year. You will get a whole lot of first person shooters, because that's just the type of age we live in, that you're going to get annualized, you know, first person shooters. So with that being said, it just like, you know, I can do without those type of games. But back to this the fighting game tips, the video that I'm supposed to be making. But yeah, like pretty much those are I guess I could say the baseline thing that I would say for person that's new to a fighting game is you need the time, or one you need to put in the time. 2, find a character that you want to play with. Maybe you find this character because of like other popular culture. You know, maybe you see Scorpion or Sub-Zero or Liu Kang or Ryu or Ken or Jin or Law or any of those people, and you find them in popular culture, and you're like, oh my god, like, you know, get over here, everybody knows that. And you're like, you know what, like, I want to play with Scorpion. You find that character and you really get to work with that character, like really get to work with that character. And what was my third one? Wow, I forgot. This is the problems of having terrible memory. I can't remember what the third one was. Oh, always have fun with it. Always have fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, just stop. Like, you know, no one's forcing you to play this, you know, a game, any fighting game. You know, if you feel you're not having fun on Mortal Kombat, try Tekken. If you feel you're not having fun on Tekken, try Guilty Gear. If you feel like you're not having fun on Guilty Gear, you know, try Street Fighter. You know, there's so many fighting games out there that you can find a game that's, you know, tailored to, you know, what you may like. Some people like fast-paced fighting games, so they might play Marvel Ultimate Alliance. That's my walkthrough. Marvel vs. Capcom. Even though Marvel vs. Capcom is not as fast-paced as it used to be. Marvel Ultimate, I'm about to say it again. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was a very fast-paced game. Almost so fast-paced that like me and my friends would play at his house, and you know, me, him, and his older brother, we play fighting games. So we know what to do, what to press, and stuff like that. And then there's like a couple of them that don't play fighting games, and they play because you could do normal and simple. And simple makes them play like unbelievably fast because you can just press one button or two buttons. And you'll do special moves, and you can spam those special moves like clockwork, and they'll, you know, kind of, I guess, I don't know if they'll think to themselves like, oh, I can do this, but then when they try to transition to normal, they'll be like, I can't do anything, my guy's not moving fast. And I'm like, simple almost gives you a false, I guess, a false expectation that you're going to be able to move that fast when you go to normal. It's like normal, once you get to normal, you have to do all of those button inputs yourself, and there's time to do those button inputs. Like they'll be like, oh my god, like I can't do this, like I can't do it fast. And like, you know, one of them would be playing with Hulk, and all you would hear is like Hulk smash, Hulk smash, Hulk smash, like instantly, like almost like the fastest thing you've ever heard in your life. Like you would just be thinking to yourself like, how is this happening? But you know, simple, I feel like simple is not the best thing to go for. It gives you I want to say a nice little preview of what to expect, but it's not, I don't know, I feel like it's not good because it doesn't, okay, you can stay on the ground. It doesn't reflect how fast the game truly is and how hard it is to gain that speed once you play in normal mode. But you know, with that being said, there are other fighting games that are more methodical. You know, I guess games like Tekken that are, you know, more slowed down, like you are, you know, fighting, I guess to say. I don't know if that makes too much sense. You know, like there are games that you feel like you're really in the game, or whatever the case may be. Because I know, like when I play Marvel MVC, you kind of just feel like you're floating almost, like, you know, it's a nice feeling, don't get me wrong. I love that game, but it feels like you're kind of floating, and if you're not used to that, you know, it's definitely hard to, I hate that move because it's almost like I can't punish that move. It's pretty annoying. Gotcha, buddy. But sorry throughout the video if I like stop talking, because it's really hard to play Tekken and talk at the same time. Much harder than it is to play Call of Duty and talk for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because it's like there's time periods where you're not shooting people or whatever the case may be. But it's like really hard to focus because it's like constant action. But yeah, I think those are the three things that I would say for a beginner. And obviously after that, you know, you start getting into, I guess you want to say, the nuts and bolts of the things. But sorry for losing on video, guys. Oh no, I already did. Then it's okay. But yeah, guys, I also want to thank you guys for the 200 subscribers. It's absolutely amazing. I love the support. And if you guys like this video, if you guys want more tips, just like and subscribe. Put in the comment section what you guys want me to discuss. Maybe there are certain things that you guys want to talk about, like certain phases of fighting games. Just put it in the comment section and I'll try to talk about it in the next video. But with that being said, I'm out of here.